Into the ballgame is Paul McKeskey, who's become kind of a cult hero in Milwaukee, Tommy.
Fred Roberts hits McKeskey at the other end.
Nice.
And welcome to the latest edition of We Got Next. I'm Ricky Hampton with the Milwaukee Bucks cult legend, Paul McKeskey.
How about that new intro, Ricky? I love it.
Come
on, man.
Shout out to our guy Tony.
Thank you, Tony. Love
and
it.
The staff at Sports Fluent for hooking that up and making the whole set.
So make it worthwhile, people out there. Subscribe. Push the subscribe button. Help us out.
Yeah, making it look so good, man. That is right on point. I love that intro. Thank you, Tony, and the staff at Sports Fluent. Mo, how you doing tonight, brother?
Well, I'm kind of depressed, man. You know that. Not a happy day in Kansas Chiefs land. But read my whiteboard, Ricky.
It got away from him, Mo. But
Look
on the
on
bright side of life. There's always next year.
Yep, there's always next year, but for this year,
Mo,
forget this. Put on this. Okay, we're right now. Well, you went the other way around, man. Forget that. Let's go for now.
although, hey, my Pistons, Mo, they won 13 games last year. They've already up to 26 wins. And that shows you what coaching can do, huh?
Well, it's coaching and the players buying in, a new voice, all that stuff combined. And, I think they have some players healthy this year that weren't healthy last year. And
yeah, the personnel's a little better, too.
And Cade Cunningham's having a great year, and he's healthy. And, the good thing, there's always next year. There's always next year. And this is the year for them. So, they're breathing like you happily texted me the other day. Don't turn around, Buck. Someone's right behind you, and it's the Pistons.
But I'm hoping that we can at least get into play-in. That would be fun to have.
Well, you're better than that right now. What spot are you?
6 right now.
That's not playing. That's playoff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But hey, it's all good, brother. It is all good. And we want to welcome everybody out there checking in. We love to hear your questions and comments, your thoughts from last night on the Super Bowl. I really thought that was going to be a nip and tuck game, Mo. It was.
So did everybody. The point spread was 1.5. I mean, everybody thought it was going to be a different game, and it just. I told people I thought Philly was a better team. I was hoping for the Chiefs. But the team that got ahead early would probably win it, because if the Chiefs got ahead early, they make Philly play from behind. But if Philly got ahead early, they would run it and pound it. And, with that offensive line, they showed the thing. The average size of their offensive line is 6'6" and 320 pounds. Those are some big dudes, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got Mike checking in. Where is Fluent at? Hey,
right here, baby.
I don't know, Mike. I can tell you we're here at We Got Next with Paul McKeskey checking in. And I'm Ricky Hampton. Going to talk a little. It's really not much to say about what happened last night.
Well, there's a lot to say. I mean,
your take.
Well,
what disappointed you? Kansas City had a great run, 3 straight Super Bowls, won 2 of them, but that was a disappointing way to lose.
Yeah, what disappointed me the most was Mahomes. I mean, he's built up to be all this and all that, and I know it's a team sport. I know their offensive line was terrible. I know Philly rushed with 4 guys all night long and put pressure on them and pushed them out of the pocket. I know, they were very physical, but the bottom line is, because you get a lot of accolades and you're supposed to be approaching the GOAT, a lot comes on you. And he made unforced mistakes He missed receivers that were open early to try and go longer. He threw bad passes at people's feet. I mean, he got hit and he got beat up, and some players dropped passes. But he also made it. He underpassed people. He tried to squeeze the ball in. He threw a couple interceptions. They scored 14 points on him. Philly's defense scored 14 points, and he looked like he was out of it most of the game. And the other person I was disappointed on was the Kansas City Chiefs coaching staff. Their game plan was terrible. I mean, do you not watch video and see how physical Philly is on the defensive line, and that you're going to have to get the pressure off of Mahomes and protect your guy by throwing screen passes and by running Pacheco a little bit. I know it's difficult, but you got to do that, because if you don't establish that, Pacheco only had like 3 rushes, and I don't think they even ran a screen the whole game. I mean, I know that. I'm not a football guy. If people are putting pressure on your quarterback, you throw a screen. It's you do that on Y2K whatever football game. You set up the screen pass. They didn't run one. I think they only had 1 first down in the first half, and all of 23 yards or something like that. So the Chiefs' defense wasn't horrible. The Chiefs' offense was horrible, and that was disappointing because they're supposed to be one of the best offenses in the game, and they got thrown off their game. They didn't look like they panicked, but they kind of did, and they didn't make the adjustments they needed to make at halftime. Now, scoring, a couple touchdowns late in the game, that didn't mean anything. That game wasn't 34-20, whatever it was. It was a 30-point game. It was a blowout.
Right.
And that's
and Mo, to your point, Mahomes was their leading rusher with 25 yards.
And he wasn't very good at running either. He had some chances where he could have ran and got a first down instead of trying to force it in there. But that's his game. But game plan was bad. Mahomes was bad. Offensive line was horrible. They couldn't. You know what? And I know. I guess I know this. In the NFL, if you have to put pressure on the quarterback, correct? You have to put pressure on the quarterback. But if you can put pressure on the quarterback with only 4 guys, you win. Because there's 7 other guys out there defending the runners and on the receiver. So if you can put pressure on the quarterback with only 4 guys, because usually at this level you got to bring 5, 6 sometimes, even 7 every once in a while, like the Chiefs do. But they didn't have to all game. I could see the guy going, the defensive coordinator going, "This is pretty good. Let's just keep rushing them with 4, and then we'll cover other guys."
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Mo. And they were able to do that. And what you said at the beginning, they just kind of physically manhandled Kansas City, which that was surprising to me as well. But
well, they out physical them on the offensive line and defensive line, and you can't win a game like that. And they were overpowered on both sides of the ball. And sometimes I heard someone like Philadelphia looked like they did what okay, we're going to play man on man, mano on mano, and we're going to beat you, and they did. And the Chiefs had no answer for that.
Absolutely. Hey, kudos to the Chiefs, man. And already they're talking about favorites for next year, and both the Chiefs and Eagles are amongst the favorites for next year. They'll still be in the hunt, but you know they're going to go to work on that offensive line. They got to.
They have to, and Kelsey will probably come back, even though he's not a factor in the playoffs anymore much, but he is a weapon. But they have to work on the offensive line for sure, and maybe a little bit of the defensive line. But their defense was fine yesterday. I mean, Philly has a good offense, man. They have a quarterback that can throw and run, and they got a running back that can run. And
they shut him down. Barkley had 25 carries for 57 yards.
Yeah, and here they did a good job with him, but by doing that, they opened up, and that was the game plan. Probably let's not let Barkley beat us. Let's make Hurt beat us with his arm. And guess what? He did just that. When they closed him down, Hurt just picked them apart and made some that the put them to sleep touchdown, that 45-yarder or whatever that was.
That was a beautiful throw.
Yeah, it was right on time. And they caught Chance to sleeping. They thought they were going to run out, kind of run the clock. And, they did what, you surprise them with that. And, that's the straw that breaks the camel's back right there.
Yeah.
Not a very happy. I had friends over. I had sons over, and we weren't very happy yesterday, Ricky. It was 70 degrees and sunny, so we were happier than a lot of people. But it was. We ended up. What I usually do is I fast forward through the commercials and watch the game. I reversed that yesterday. I fast forward to the game because of the commercials.
Hey, did you have a favorite commercial from yesterday, Mom?
Yeah, I can't. I'll tell you, I can't think. There's a couple good ones. I can't. The tearjerker was the Clydesdale little pony horse that got the cake to the bar on time and that. But I thought there were some pretty good commercials.
I like the one with the kid battling cancer.
Oh yeah.
With the boxing gloves. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to spend $8 million on a 30-second commercial, they better be good.
But Mo, did you see the stat? The first Super Bowl, the tickets were $12 for the first Super Bowl, and I think it said it was 5,000 for last night's game. A commercial.
Yeah, that came down. Yeah.
But those are just the standard prices. The first Super Bowl, a commercial was $40,000. Last night, a commercial was $8 million, I believe.
$8 million for 30 seconds. Yep.
God. I mean, it's some big money being spent, brother.
Yeah, well, I mean, go to, pay, $5,000 for a ticket each, and then, pay that food price and the drinking, and, it's you got to really want to go to the game, to pay that kind of money. I don't have that kind of money. I'd rather, and for the most part, I'd rather watch it in the comfort of my house with friends, and just kind of having a good time and having time with friends and stuff, and enjoying company rather than the game, which was a good thing yesterday.
What's up, Steve? And what's up to everybody out there checking in? Steve says, sorry, Mo, on losing the Super Bowl. But you see the whiteboard, look on the bright side. There's always next year. And Mo's got his and Mo has his Milwaukee Bucks cap on, so he's hopeful. And Steve just brings out the first Super Bowl has cigarette and beer commercials. That's absolutely correct.
Marlboro Man, Camel.
Those were the days. Those were the days.
But I'm running out of teams, Ricky. My Chiefs are done. My Jayhawks aren't very good. They lost to Kansas State, our rival, over the weekend. So I got really one team left, and that's the Bucks, and they're struggling a little bit. Giannis is out, but they looked good the other day.
Yeah, I've got them on in the background now. It's 58-51 halftime with Golden State, and the Bucks picked up Kyle Kuzma. What did you think about that move and saying so long to an old friend, Chris Middleton, who had some very good years in Milwaukee?
Well, Kyle Kuzma is not at the level that Chris Middleton was when he was healthy a few years back, but he's actually better than Chris Middleton now. He's younger, has more bounce, more energy, can defend better. So it was a good addition for Milwaukee. They had to do something. There's rumors about, Jimmy Butler and all this other stuff, but I think that was a good upgrade. They didn't have to give away their core players. They didn't have to give away Portis to get him. So that's a good addition for them. And, I don't want to say anything really that bad, but I watched them beat up on Philadelphia yesterday without Giannis in the game, and everybody seemed bouncy. The ball was moving. Defense was good. I I hope when he comes back after the All-Star break that they continue to play that way, because then they can do some damage and maybe give a run to the Celtics or the Cavs or the Knicks in the playoffs. But if he comes back and just wants to be the guy again and, dribble all the time and not pass and do that, and, they're going to struggle in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens.
But Paul, you know what's going on with Giannis? He's down again. He's not in the Anthony Davis class of injury, but he's beginning to pile up some nicks and bruises and missing some time over the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, he's
is it
a
his
young
style
guy.
of play, you think?
I think maybe a little. He's only 25 or 26 years old. He has a lot of basketball miles on him, though. He was MVP of the World Games when he was like 19 years old or 18 years old. So he's been playing basketball at a high level for a long time. And every summer he plays with his country team. So he's got some mileage on him. But also, he's had a calf problem. He's had a knee problem. I'll say it. I've said it before. He needs to get in better shape. In the shape he's in right now, he's a top 5 player, top 10 player, but he's injured a lot. If he would get himself in shape, unbelievable basketball shape, when it's not too late, if he would really commit to it, he would be an elite player. He could be the next Kobe Bryant or LeBron James for the Lakers. He could be that guy. He's that good. But you got in LeBron, look at what he's doing at 40 years old. Come on, man. Look at his body. Look at how he plays. Kobe was relentless with his conditioning and got on Shaq for being out of shape, right? So if Luka could go in that and listen to LeBron, I would tell him, hey, just go to dinner with LeBron and talk to him. How does he do it? What does he do? How specifically can you be in shape like this at 40 years old? Then the ceiling is, there's no ceiling on how good he can be. But if he continues to, be stubborn and I do it my way and I've been good, I'm one of the best players, even like this, then he's going to be, a player like he is now. He's going to be a really, really good player, but not a great, great player.
Yeah. And speaking of injuries, we'll get those out of the way. Anthony Davis is out multiple weeks with an abductor strain. He was having a terrific game. And more, I'm looking at the play now. He went down. It was non-contact.
Yeah, he was defensive sliding just a little bit. And I think he had a problem there before. AD has had problems with injuries, multiple injuries. He's kind of a frail-looking dude. He hits the floor hard. We talked about this before. There's an art form to landing. Football players work on it all the time. How do you land when you get hit? Baseball players work on it all the time. How do you slide and not get hurt, right? You got to slide a specific way. But there's certain guys that fall hard. Dwayne Wade was a guy that fell hard. He took contact, was a phenomenal player, but when he fell hard and he got hurt sometimes. There's just guys like that, and it seems like AD is one of those guys. When he falls hard and tends to get injured. Now, this has nothing to do with this injury, which was a abdominal strain that I think he's battled with before. He was just doing a simple defensive slide, and it's unfortunate because he went in there with a purpose, right? But all the fans in Dallas are all up a roar. Sell the team, fire the GM. You trade Luka, that's our guy. So they're all up in arms about that. And then AD goes in and says, hey, I'm that guy too. And he had 26 points and 16 rebounds in 30 minutes before he got hurt. And had a great attitude, and all the other guys on the Mavs were huddled around him. They had excitement again. Unfortunately, he's going to be out for who knows how long, 2-3 weeks, and that's unfortunate because the Mavs have been playing without Luka for a month, and now they made the trade, and they're going to play without the guy they traded for Luka for about a month. So we'll see.
And they're sitting in the 8th spot. 15 games behind Oklahoma City, but only 2 games out of the 6th spot and 5 behind the Lakers for the 5th spot. And Houston is reeling a little bit more. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games, 33-20. They're only a half game up on the Lakers for that fourth spot. Houston got off to a terrific start, but they seem to be slowing down a little bit.
They're a young team, right? And you know they got some young players, so they're hitting the All-Star wall. You know, here right before the All-Star break next week, you know, you're going to be about 55, 60 games into your season, but you still have 20 something left, and a lot of players hit that wall before the All-Star break. Not only is it a lot of games to play, but then you go, okay, we're going to get this break, but then we still got all these games to play, not even talking the playoffs. So they might be hitting that rookie wall, we used to call it, a little bit, but they have a well-rounded team, and they play tough and they play defense. So I think they'll bounce back. And a lot of times that has to do with schedule and injuries and travel. So, there's so many ups and downs in the 82-game season.
Yeah, for sure. They're sitting at 33-20. And Mo, now that the trade deadline is gone, I want to get to the situation with the Lakers. Well, let's start there. It looked like the Lakers pulled off a great deal getting Mark Williams from Charlotte. He's a 7-foot guy, averaging 15 points, 10 rebounds a game. Put him in the middle with Luka and LeBron. They're gonna find him for some dunks and lobs. Only problem, the Lakers had to rescind the trade. Is this a mistake on the Lakers for not
I think so.
More about Williams?
They knew it. I think they knew that he was injury prone, but the mistake they made is they didn't put it in the trade clause. So if he doesn't pass the physical, we can waive that physical and still make the trade happen. They didn't do that. They didn't have that clause in the trade, so they were up against the wall, and thus it was sent back because Luka actually, supposedly I heard they went to Luka and said, hey, we need a big. What kind of big out there that's available would you like to play with? And that's the guy he picked out as his number one because he's young, he's long, he's athletic, he can catch, he can dunk it. Hell, he's averaging like 16 plus points and like 11 or 12 rebounds.
Yeah.
So he's a perfect fit to throw lobs to. So that was a great move. Lakers gave up a rookie shooter that was a 6'7" wing that can really shoot the ball. They didn't want to do that, but they needed a big. They still need a big. So, they were reluctant to do that trade, but they did it to get the big. But now, when it's reversed, they get the guy they didn't want to give up, the rookie that can shoot. They didn't want to give him up. Connect. They got him back, but at the same time, you still don't have a center. They're playing with a kid that's like a third-year guy that, has averaged 2 points and 2 rebounds his whole career. That's their starting center. So, they're and there's not very many unless you can find a buyout for a Valanciunas or someone like that. That's not going to happen. Do you go back and go get some, McGee or someone like that to come in and play center for you? Or,
JaVale McGee's playing down in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, so he's still in shape. Do you do that? You're in a corner now because trade deadline's over. You can't go get anybody. No one of that caliber is going to be get bought out here in the near future. Is there somebody in the G League, maybe a young big that's 7 foot and can run a dunk? But actually, that's who they're starting anyway. So they're in a problem now because they don't have a big, just like some other team that made a trade and got Jimmy Butler, and they still don't have a big player. So figure that one out.
Talking about Golden State, does that eliminate them in your mind as serious contenders, Mo?
Yes. I mean, can they win a playoff series, with Steph and Draymond and Butler? Yeah, but can they go win a second round series or make them? No, you just can't without a viable big. It doesn't even have to be an all-star. It has to be a big body. You can look at PJ Washington or Lively with the Mavericks or just someone like that, or the guy that just got sent back to Charlotte, but they don't have anybody like that. They have Looney, an older 6'8" center, and that's about all they have. So They can't make a run to playoffs as is. Just like the Lakers are in a little better shape because LeBron is actually 6'8" and 260. So he is a big body, but they don't have a center. But Lakers are in trouble without a center, and the Warriors are pretty much shot without a center.
And when you think about the Lakers, who do they always run into and can't beat the playoffs? That's the Joker.
Yeah, the one of the biggest bigs in the league. The Joker. I mean, even if whatever, if there's a scenario where you're going to play, let's say the Bucks, but they have Giannis and Lopez and and Portis. The Lakers don't have anybody like that. Golden State doesn't have anybody like that. I mean, I don't understand how the general managers and those organizations can go along like this and not have a big viable center that can play, and get you 10 points and 8 boards and dunk the ball. That's too bad. That's bad on the general manager and the ownership. Why can't you find anybody like that? No, Bronny can't play center. He's 6'1". I see you. But, that's sad. And, okay, the Lakers made a trade for a guy like that, and it fell through. Don't you have a plan B, Lakers? Don't you think ahead? Don't you have something on your whiteboard that says, okay, if this doesn't work, let's quickly do this? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So that's malpractice on that part, you think?
I think so. I mean, why? I don't understand. I don't understand how the Warriors have not had a big player in years. It makes no sense to me. How can that happen? Okay, we're keeping the team together and we're going to make a run. No, you're not. You're not. You don't even have a Luke Longley or anybody like that. Why do you keep doing that? Small ball? I mean, it only goes so far, and we all know that it doesn't work in the playoffs when it gets in the higher levels. I mean, it's just even Oklahoma City, who's number one, who had Holmgren, they went out and got Harkenstein, a 7-foot big guy that can be physical. They even knew that. How can you not know that? And the Lakers not having a plan B right away before the trade line goes up, or not put that clause in that contract so it can go through no matter. Oh, I know he didn't pass physical, but we're going to waive the physical, which can be done. Luka was on the injured list when they traded for him, and AD was injured when they traded for him. So it can be done. They just didn't do it.
Yeah. Woodage has a question. Do the Lakers have money to buy somebody off of the buyout market? Well, they have to be put on they have to take a buyout first, right now.
Yes, a player at some other team has to take a buyout. So that team has to buy them out. So the Lakers have no control over that. Do they have the money to pick somebody up? Sure they do. But nobody's going to buy out a center that is a playoff level center. No one's going to buy that guy out. They're going to use him unless they can find some of the bottom feeders like the Washingtons, like the Utahs, that would buy somebody out. But I don't see that happening. I think that's too late. And there's going to be like Schroeder might be bought out, guys like that, but not a legitimate big is not going to be bought out. The team has to buy him out, and the player has to agree to be bought out to happen that. I don't see that happening.
Hey, Paul. Now, in terms of the G League, can teams poach guys off other G League teams?
Yes, they can pick up as long as it's not a two-way player, they can pick up anybody from any team in the G League. But the problem with that is most of those guys are young guys that they already have on the NBA teams already have on their bench. Like the Lakers,
Hayes is going to be better than anybody they get from them.
Yeah, and he's playing already, right? So they, to find someone in the G League that's better than him, you're not going to find it, or you would have had him on the roster already. So, if you were looking for a guard or a wing, you could go find them in the G League maybe, but not a big guy like that. They're just not there that are good enough, that are better than what you already have, even if you don't have a legitimate center.
What about Mo Bamba?
Mo Bamba, how many times did he bounce around? Didn't Shaquille O'Neal say Mo Bamba was better than something like something? But he's bounced around so much. He's interesting, but he's so skinny. He has some skills, but give me Brooke Lopez, give me Harkenstein, give me Nurkic, give me Valanciunas. Give me Valanciunas. I talked about him. Go get him. Why didn't they? I think Sacramento got him for nothing. Sacramento got Valanciunas for nothing. And the Lakers and the Golden State could have gotten him, but he would have went there before Sacramento.
Yeah. Mo Bamba, he's a free agent. He's out there. Golly, he's only 26 years old. It seems like he's been around forever.
Because he's bounced around. He's not what people thought he would be. Like
Yeah, he was the 6th overall pick in 2017.
Yeah, he needs to go overseas and make some money and forget about the NBA. I don't think he'll ever play in the NBA any legitimate minutes. So he's just, there's so many guys like that, Ricky. Chris Washburn. Hey, that's first pick. He never. Just tons of guys like that. What was the guy that your Pistons got the one year?
William Bedford.
No, the white guy from overseas.
Darko
Nukovic. Yeah, he never panned out either.
Overall pick.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's some.
We passed on Carmelo and Dwayne Wade.
So put Bamba in that category. I think at this point. I mean,
But he could be somebody, because right now they need a body.
Not that body.
Okay.
You need a body. Yeah, you need a body like my body. You don't need a body like his body. You think can he guard the Joker? No. Oh
Ben
God.
Simmons,
Oh God, no.
Ben's already signed with
Clippers. He was looking at.
Clippers.
Yeah, that. Oh, come on, man. That's a disaster waiting to happen.
Really? I mean, nobody's trying to pick on Ben Simmons, but that's one of the most disappointing draft picks. I mean, you look at some of these other guys. Some guys just got hurt and just never could play. I mean, this guy just, I don't even know how to explain what happened.
You call Ben Simmons a disaster. He's a disaster. He had a year and a half of good basketball. Everybody thought he was this, big guy that could handle and pass and do all this stuff, and he was for about a year and a half. And then he demanded a trade, and then he got hurt, and then his back hurt, and then he left the team. Then he came back to the team, but then he wanted to be traded again, and then he was traded again, and then he wasn't happy there either. And the guy can't play anymore. He's always hurt too. So, Ben Simmons, just put him in the, and you know what's scary? You know who's getting close to that level right now? Zion.
Yeah.
Zion Williamson is getting in that category, has that kind of talent, but is always hurt, never really in great shape, never really gets it. They talk about, you have talent. There's talent everywhere. There's talent all over the place, but you got to do something with the talent. You have to have a nice basketball IQ. You have to have a drive. You have to have competitiveness. You want to have to push yourself. You want to be able to be the best player you can be. You want to be able to come to practice early and get better every day so you can make it become the better player. Not many of those. There's a lot of the players in the league aren't that guy. They're just not. And it's really sad. I was on a show with Muggsy Bogues and Sidney Moncrief today. That's going to be on YouTube coming up. And we talked about, the competitiveness and the fire in players that is gone now. I mean, you're talking about Muggsy Bogues, who grew up in a terrible neighborhood, actually as a kid was shot with a shotgun and by an old guy that was pissed off because some of the kids were playing in the neighborhood. Then led Dunbar, but he's only 5'5", and then battled his height all the time and became a really, really good NBA player because he has that drive in him. You can't tell me no. You tell me I'm too short, forget you. I'm going to work harder. You tell me I'm not good enough, forget you. I'm going to work harder. I mean, but you don't see that much anymore. Tell me a player, an up and coming player that's like that. You know who might be like that? Shea Alexander. You know who might be like that? Wembyamba. Those guys are like that. You know what, though? You know what they have in common? They're not American.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. That goes back to your point about the European game taking over. Hey, you mentioned Muggsy, man. You know what kind of, you were a teammate of Isaiah Thomas. You know what kind of competitor he is and what kind of ball handler. He used to drive Isaiah crazy.
He drove everybody crazy.
Because he could get right up.
Yeah, I remember, and I told Sydney this. I remember Sydney, Paul Pressey, John Lucas, all arguing. No, you bring the ball up. No, you bring the ball up. I ain't bringing the ball up because Muggsy was goal guarding whoever had the ball. They didn't want to. He was and he was strong as heck, but you know he was just tough and he had some skill, and you know there's just not many guys like that in the league you can point out anymore. Everybody's worried about getting their advertisement, having the best shoes.
Their brand, Mo.
Yeah, they're working on their brand, which is okay. But please become the best player you can before you work on your brand. I mean, Michael Jordan is the biggest brand in the world. He still makes $200 million a year on his brand alone. He hasn't played in 40 years. But he worked as hard as anybody to become the player he was. Then he worried about his brand.
Right.
Players have it backwards now.
Zion paid $600,000 for his Gym Mint 10 rookie card. Guy sold it for $50,000. Yeah, I guess so. I think I'd be mad too.
I don't know. I don't know.
You know,
that's I was talking about.
That stock is really down. Hey, Paul, what I was going to ask you. Now that the trade deadline is over, and I know your mantra. Tell me who's healthy. But what were the moves you liked? And does it because of the trade, did anything change in your mind?
I don't think anything drastically changed. I think the Luka AD trade that everybody was talking about was for Mavericks. I think it helped them in the short term. For the Lakers, it should help them in the long term and give them somebody else, a 25-year-old superstar potentially, that could run the franchise for the next 10 to 15 years. You know, but does it move them up in this year or whatever? I don't see it drastically happen. I think the Spurs picked up. Who did the Spurs pick up?
They got Fox from Sacramento.
Yeah, I thought that was because what that does is DeAndre Fox I think he's relatively young. Chris Paul is older and doing a good job at the point. It gives them Fox there for the future, because the only thing you need to do in San Antonio, this is all you have to do. You need to keep Wembanyama happy. That's what you got to do. And I think that helped them to be really a bigger threat in the West and maybe make a run at the playoffs, because you need to make the playoffs this year for the Spurs, or else somebody like Wembanyama is going to get a little disappointed. He already said it last year, I hate losing. So I think that helped them, which will help them in the future, because people are going to want to play with Fox and Wembanyama. So I think that was a trade that really helped San Antonio.
Yeah. Speaking of New Orleans, they are 12-40, Paul.
Sad.
12-40. That is they're one of the most disappointing teams in the league for sure.
What's Philadelphia now?
Philly is now 20-32. They've lost 3 straight. They are 22 games out of first place, and
what place are they? 12?
2.5 games behind Chicago for the 10th spot.
So they're like 12th spot, Philadelphia. And now guess what you heard today?
Yep.
Embiid probably needs another knee surgery. Oh, yay. I mean, that's one of the biggest disappointments. You know who's going to get hurt there? You know who's going to pay for that, Ricky?
Who?
I'll give you a guess. Who's going to pay for that?
The coach.
Nick Nurse.
Nurse
will be fired at the end of this year, watch. And,
NBA championship coach.
Kiss of death. Yeah, he was a few years ago. What have you done for me lately? But yeah, I mean, and I just watched Maxey play. He's phenomenal. Yeah. Max is one of the best guards in the league. He's the closest thing to Shea Alexander as Shea Alexander, in my opinion. And he's getting wasted because Embiid's always hurt, and the process is over. I don't know what they're going to do next.
Yeah, the process is over for sure in Philadelphia. And coming into the season, Mo, when they had Paul George, Embiid, and Maxey, that was their big three, and they've only played 12, 13 games together. But it has just not gone well.
At the
But
beginning of the year,
look, at the
beginning of the year, it was Boston, Philly, and Milwaukee. That
Yeah.
was the East. That was the East.
Yeah, absolutely. And things have changed. Indiana is currently ahead of Milwaukee right now in the fourth spot. And New York has been pretty consistent. But Paul, I just don't know if New York is good enough once these playoffs come around. I think they'll miss Harkenstein once the playoffs starts. I mean, that dude is a bruise. You look at what he's done for Oklahoma City. Uh, he's given them an identity now, and it's not like he has great stats. It's just his presence. I think Mo froze up on me. Okay, hopefully I'll get Mo back. Uh, let's go to the Mo dropped out. Okay, we'll come back. I'm sure he'll check back in. Lottery for Philly. Yeah, I think you're right, Sand City. Time to trade Embiid. Tough after bringing in George, but necessary. I'm with you, brother. Steve saying Cunningham. Yeah, I'm here in Detroit, and Cunningham has really taken another step with his game, and is playing terrific. Turning the ball over a little bit too much. He gets a little casual with the ball, but other than that, man, he's shooting the lights out. And when he doesn't turn it over passing, he gets a lot of assists. So here's Mo checking in now. Hey Mo, you got kicked off. No, I'm on talking. I'm talking. See if you can log back in. Everybody's waiting. Okay, all right. Ah, the beauty of live TV, live streaming, guys. Mo's gonna try to check back in. Let's see. Ooh, Steve, the Wizards. They they may be worse than the Wizards may be worse than New Orleans, Steve. What are they now? Uh, let's see what the standings. The Wizards are 9-43. So yep, they hadn't even got to double figure wins yet. So that is pretty bad. Uh, I like the Cavs getting Hunter Woodage. Uh, we'll ask more about that once we get him back. Hopefully, we'll get him back. I'm going to take a moment and send him another invite. Maybe that'll help. He gets a fresh invite. Let's see here. Hey Mo, I'm gonna try to send you. I'm gonna send you another invite. Check your email. Okay. Okay, you're watching We Got Next. Big Mo got kicked off the air. I hope it wasn't the FCC that kicked him off. But I'm gonna stay here a couple more minutes and see if we can get Paul back on and answer your questions. In the meantime, shoot me any questions you may have. Steve, the Lions are drafting. I hope so. More importantly, Steve, let's just get the ones we got and get them healthy. They were good enough defensively until they lost. They just lost the entire starting defensive line and both their starting cornerbacks and a couple of linebackers. They were playing with backups at the end of the year. If they do that, they're going to be fine. But I do agree with you. I think they will address the defense because that offense is going to be dynamic no matter who the new offensive coordinator is, which we already know is going to be Johnny Morton. Let's see. Paul. Let's see here. I don't know. Looks like Mo is getting kicked off here. No, that's not the former Lions wide receiver. That's Johnny Morton, who was he was on the offensive staff with the Denver Broncos, Steve, not Johnny Morton from USC, who paired with Herman Moore back in the day. That's when I actually covered the Lions in the 90s during the Barry Sanders era. Hey Mo, what age? Welcome back once again, brother. What age was asking about your thoughts on the Cavaliers getting Hunter from Atlanta.
Yeah, I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, I think he adds something to that team that they don't have. He's a big that can shoot the ball, and I like that addition. I always liked his game. He's got a little attitude to him too. I think he was in the Olympics against USA, kind of give him the three guns thing and stuff like that. So I like that pickup.
And I think this is a new guest to the show. Welcome, Sand City. We appreciate you. Tell your friends. He says it's time to trade Embiid. Tough to do after bringing in George, but he thinks it may be necessary. And tell me this, Mo, how much value does Embiid have considering his history issues? I'm sure the Lakers would take him right now.
I don't think so. First of all, they can't fit him under the salary cap. He makes $50 million, and he's hurt all the time, and he needs knee surgery. So I don't think he has any value at all. I don't think anybody really wants to trade for him at this point. They're going to ride it out, see how his knee surgery comes in the offseason. So, I think the time to trade Embiid was probably at the trade deadline before he was hurt, maybe.
Wow. Amazing, a guy with that kind of ability and a guy can put up those numbers has such a little value. Of course, nothing can happen with him this year with the trade deadline already gone. Hey Mo, we gotta sign off a little early tonight. Any final thoughts on the week that has been, especially in the NBA?
Well, I think, usually at the trade deadline time in the NBA, we hear all this stuff and all these rumors and all these things that are going to happen, and nothing really happens except some second-round picks get traded for some backup dudes, right? But this year, a lot of main players, starters on teams, were traded this year. There's so many that I can't even go into, but this was the first year where once the Luka trade was made with AD, two top 15 players in the league, it seemed like all the other teams had freedom to okay, we're going to trade our good guy and this good guy. So I think that was the biggest surprise, that all the big name players that were traded this year as opposed to past years.
Yeah. Hey, one more final question. Philly gave him a huge contract. I think you're obligated to give a guy. I think they had to pay him. But why did the Bucks give Middleton so much money?
Well, I think they thought he was going to come back from his injury as part of their championship run, and I think they thought he had enough gas in the tank to help him. But the bottom line is, guys out there, big time contracts aren't necessarily a bad thing, because guess what? If you have a big time contract, you can trade him to somebody else that you want that has a big time contract, and when that big time contract comes off your books, you have that to go sign a free agent or re-sign someone you have. So just because a player is signed to big money doesn't mean that hand ties you. You can trade them, you can get value for them, or if it's an expiring contract, you can use that and get down to the second apron and be able to make moves the following year. So there was a lot of moves made this year of big-time contracts that are going to go off the books in a year or two and allow that team to use that money and get younger, better players that they think of. So there's a different, and that's part of the reason they could get Kuzma with Middleton, because he made that much money.
And that's different from the NFL, because that money goes on your books. Whether you get rid of him or not, you may be able to cut a little bit off of it. But the NBA works as you just said it.
Well, once you trade a guy, that's off your books. Once I trade a guy, that's off my books. And whoever, but in the NBA, I don't know what it is in the NFL. You can't trade someone that's making $50 million for someone that's making $20 million. They don't allow that. You have to make close to equal financial trades. So that's why a lot of other players get thrown in some of these trades, and also draft picks, which are worth, I think, $200,000 to $1 million a year. First rounders work. So that's how they get worked into trades to make those happen, to make the numbers work. There's a whole 100-page book you got to read for to make trades happen in the salary cap, and it's more complicated than ever. Every NBA team has an attorney that is focused on just the salary cap and what's legal and what's not. We used to have one in the draft room in Dallas, and we talk about making a trade or doing this, and we look at that guy, and he'd be on his computer. Can we do this? Yes, we can do that. Do this? No, we can't do that.
Hey, Paul, even college athletics are hiring GMs now. I think the North Carolina Tar Heel football program hired a GM.
It's a business. A lot of them are hired GM. It's a business. Players can make money now, NIL money, and they can transfer whenever they want. So actually, it's a business with players making the Hunter Dickinson in Kansas is making over $1 million a year. Yeah. So now it's a business, but it's a business without a salary cap, because there is no NIL salary cap as of yet. So yeah, it's a business.
Yeah. Hey, Mo, we got to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We're here every Monday, 9 p.m. Paul Mokeski, Ricky Hampton, thank you so much for your questions and comments. Thank you to the new viewers out there checking in. Subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Peace, everybody.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.